Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti, and if you don't know, I'm the face, the voice, and the hands behind all the videos you see here on this channel and behind the website InfinitiCraftingCompany.com. Today I am here with Channel Chat 139. Happy Wednesday. As promised, I am here to show off how I package my pottery orders and just kind of blurb about my packaging in general, because there is a difference between how I package my, say, crochet and knit items that I send out and how I do the pottery. I think I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but you know, when it comes to packaging like my handmade shawls and scarves and things like that, of course I can be a little more free with that. I've always taken a lot of joy in designing packages. So back when I used to take in-person commissions, I would get these gift bags and deck them out with tissue paper and extra little fun stuff, and then add in freebies with it, and that was almost just as fun as making the item itself. For me, I think I just liked coordinating colors and such. Shocker. But yeah, so I wanted to, as I started building up Infiniti Crafting Co., I wanted to kind of translate that across the board. So of course that led into, you know, investing in labels and other packaging things. I had a thing where I bought holographic boxes to ship things in, and I had one slip up with that with the pottery, and I was just like, nope, never again. Never again, because post office was like, oh, fragile, this looks like a football, and it ended up arriving broken, and I was sad because it was something that I made and, you know, put my heart into, and also because you know, I ended up having to reprocess that and refund and all that jazz. So to avoid heartbreak, I definitely implemented different things into my packaging with ceramics. Obviously it's glass, it's breakable, it's fragile. So, you know, inevitably every potter or person that dabbles in like fragile artwork, so glass work, pottery, things like that, you're inevitably going to have something that breaks or chips, and it's going to be unfortunate, but there are little things that you can do to prevent the said things, and I have been implementing several of those in my own practice. So yeah, you know, less breaks for everybody. So last week I got an order kind of early in the morning while I was in class, and I was very happy. So Jennifer, if you're watching, thank you so much for your order. I will be packaging it in this video, even though it got sent out yesterday. So anywho, here we go. Without further ado, I'm just going to pan down and we're going to see how this works out. First and foremost, I just have plain boxes. Now, because these pieces are smaller, I believe that they can fit in this box with no problem. Every now and again, I'll keep bigger boxes stocked in my studio just because, you know, I want the pieces to have plenty of room to fit in the box, but also just to account for all the extra stuffing and packaging and whatnots that goes into these boxes. But okay, let's pan down. Alright, so first and foremost, I have the items. So I have several different shelves and tables around my studio where I store these things at the moment. And so once I get an order for them, I try to remember them by name and then go back and pluck them out. That's kind of why I put these index cards in here. They're just for my personal reference, so if you ever see them in the videos, that's why. So Katarina and Cassie got new homes last week, and since I've found them, I can now remove their labeling. Sometimes I have these kind of adhered to the piece just to make sure. The first thing that I do when I look at these pieces before I send them out is I reevaluate the bottom of them in case I need to do any refining or sanding. Usually I would have done this by this point, and these have already been refined, so I'm good to go. So these are good. I'm going to put them to the side very gently. Then I'm going to assemble my box. So it's just this typical flat box. I think this one is like, it's like 10 by 8 or something. 10 by 8 by 6. There we go. This was always going to be a very awkward video to try to record. But I like to try to show my process with things. I know people like to see it sometimes. But also just so you know what you're getting, or what to expect when you get your box from me. Alright, and somewhere around here is my tape. Alrighty, so now I get to mummify the bottom of my box, which is really important because I don't want it to, you know, break open with chunks of it. So I always go about midway or 3/4 of the way up the side of the box, and then come over that center and up the other side in the same manner. And then I go about doing these edges as well because, again, I'd rather be safe than sorry, because you can have situations where the tape just pops up like it just did. Great, I ran out of tape on that one, which is a good thing. Alright, now to do the other side of the box. There we go. It's always the hardest to get a new roll started, but it's all good. Alright, once my box is properly taped up at the bottom, I like to come in with this really big bubble wrap that I got in earlier in the year. And I'll put a layer or two at the bottom, just because you don't want stuff just packed down in here. And actually, what I think I'll do here is stuff a little newspaper down here at the bottom first. Now, this part I don't necessarily expect to be pretty, but I do want the pieces to be packed in here so that they aren't shifting around in the box, because the more rattling they do, the more susceptible they are to breaking in the mail, which, you know, breaks my heart. So I'm going to do that. And get a layer of bubble wrap right there. Alright, at this point I like to set my box to the side. And now I want to address the pieces. So with pieces like this that are just wide open, or even vases like Katarina, what I'll do is I will make sure that the inside of it is stuffed with something. So usually when it comes to vases, I will put air pillows in there. Now I don't have any on me at the moment, but that can always be substituted with lots of newspaper and bubble wrap, or both. But I just want to wad up a piece of newspaper and put it in the center. Okay, and then once I get that wadded in there, then I take another sheet of newspaper and I just wrap this as I normally would. Kind of like when you buy stuff from a store. You at checkout get it wrapped so you don't break it on the way home. Same concept. With smaller pieces, I will use a smaller sheet of bubble wrap like this. The bubbles are not as big as they are on that other sheet that I usually use for cushioning. And I'll also use that other kind for larger pieces. So things like my yarn bowls and whatnots, I will use that for that. And after I get that kind of scrunched on there, I will tape it down. Just so it doesn't unravel. And so now, with this bowl, I can like safely do that without it breaking. And now, with this bowl, if I wanted to just drop it, that's what I want. Because they're going to do a lot worse to it at the post office. And so between this padding and what I have in the box, it'll be good to go. Alright, you might have heard a little thud there when I did my initial drop test of this bowl. My concern was that it didn't have enough padding at the bottom, so I just went in with an extra sheet of the tiny bubble wrap and gave it a second layer of padding so that it doesn't absorb any shock or anything inside the box later. Alright, now this piece can be set off to the side. Similarly, I want to get Katerina all taken care of as well. I'm looking at it and I think I should be able to get away with a combination of both bubble wrap and paper on the inside of it. And okay, I just want to mention too that my way of shipping stuff out isn't the end all be all. Every potter has their own little magic trick to how they package things. Some people might think what I'm doing is overkill. Some people would agree with me that, you know, sufficient packing is a must. So, you know, it just depends. It depends. And I've been asked, why don't you use like Rand Pack or, you know, the honeycomb paper? Because it's expensive. Yeah, so a lot of times when it comes to packaging, it just boils down to economics. Now, again, depending on the success that you find in your practice, you know, that allows for you to do more or less with your packaging as you see fit. Me, however, I have trust issues with the postal service, so I'd rather overkill than to have my stuff go out and it be shattered when the person gets it. Alright, now we're just gonna stuff some paper in there and get this wrapped up real quick. Now, since Katerina is a larger piece, I will use some of the larger bubbles to wrap around the exterior of her. I'm not really worried about the top because everything is packed top heavy on this one. And the bottom will actually be protected by the layer of bubbles that is in the box that is coming up the side. But then also this piece is short enough to where the bubble wrap can be folded underneath and taped up really nice. So just going to do that here real quick. So again, same deal. I want to be able to drop this without worrying about it. Now this side might have a little, yeah, one of the bubbles popped on that side, so that's all good and fine. I'll just take a sheet of these smaller bubbles and put around it. Alright, now she's good to go and I am ready to bring my box back. Okie dokie, now I can put my pieces in my box. Because they are so small, they will fit in this compact little box just fine. Like so. There's one piece. And then there's the second piece. And you might be wondering, okay, is it over? Absolutely not. So, what I will do is usually do a little tap test, but usually what I'll do is put another sheet of paper and bubble wrap on top of this before I start adding in the invoice and all the extra goodies that typically accompany one of my orders. Because the packaging is so tight here, I will be using a layer of the mini bubbles to go over top of this. And then I will stuff the paper on top. Alright, and there's that. So basically what I have left to do is insert the invoices and the freebies. I have no idea what I just knocked over. The freebies and the invoices and things like that. And then I definitely like to test and make sure that this box will close. And of course I will be taping this across the top like I did at the bottom. So now that I see that it will close and be nice and flat, you can see that it'll be nice and flat. That makes me feel good. So I'm going to set this to the side, I think. Slide it over. And now I'm going to find all of my freebies that I want to insert. Alright, so now when it comes to the freebies, I always like to add a personal touch to all of my orders, not just for pottery, but all of them. So usually when I ship something out, I will include like a handwritten note of some sort, whether it be on the invoice or whether it be on one of these like actual cards. It just depends on what's available in my studio at the given time. So I always like to add that because I, again, think it adds a nice little personal touch, and then people kind of appreciate it when they feel like you've taken the time out to address them, aside from, you know, getting their stuff in the mail. So, and I write in cursive, so like to make sure I got the person's name right. Let's see. Alright, so basically I like to write out a little thank you when people do actually support my small business, because again, it keeps the lights on, it keeps the internet going, it keeps me recording. So, you know, these things make my whole week when they happen. I will typically, sometimes I'll actually put these freebies in the box separate from the note, However, I think this time I'm going to put it inside the card. I want to make sure that my ink is dry because I write with gel pens. I know, it's very smart. I have two different types of business cards in general. One is a very standard traditional business card with all my info on it and my social media on the back. And then for the, the kiddos these days that are tech savvy, the QR codes and such, I have one where they can just scan this and go to my link tree. So I like to include both in there because I never know who's ordering my things, to be honest. I like to add in my stickers. I had these made years ago when I first started the first rendition of Hey Craftpreneur, but now that I'm bringing it back, I find it appropriate to include these in along with one of my holographic stickers that you only get now in these orders. I don't sell them anymore individually. Alright, and so I just close it up. And I place it in the envelope, like so. Then I like to seal up these envelopes with these thank you stickers that I also got. It just says thank you for supporting my small business. Alright, and now that that is neatly done, I can tuck that away along with my last freebie that I almost forgot. Oh my gosh, tragic. I got these bookmarks made with my branded colors. I like to give them to the local bookstore. I find that a lot of my audience likes to read, which is a very fun link between crafters and the whole reading community. So anyway, I put them in there just in case. And layer them up like this. I'm going to bring this box back around. And I can just simply lay these on top, like so. And now I'm going to close this off. I'm just going to kind of press everything down. And taper up. Alright, so now I am in the final stages of completing my package now that I have it all taped up and mummified to my satisfaction. So before I put the actual shipping label on the box, there are a few extra things that I do. Again, just kind of going over all the corners of my tape, making sure everything's pressed down good. And then in the spring, when I started shipping out my raku pieces from last year, I invested in these fragile labels because, even though I know postal workers or, fulfillment centers aren't really, caution is not their name. So, but I still want to put it on there so they can not say that I did not indicate that the package was fragile. So I will put it on multiple faces of the package, and it's not odd for me to put 3 or 4 of these bad boys on a single box, because I'd rather be safe than sorry. Typically when I put the label on there, it's going to go somewhere across here, and it's not going to cover up the label, so it's all good. I've heard some horror stories over the years that, when carriers see this, that they just kind of handle the box more roughly, but it's like, okay, dude, literally, don't ruin somebody's life simply because they're telling you that it's fragile, like we're supposed to do. So anywho, I'm trying to think, because I also like to choose a random side of the box where I can put my labels on. I got these patch labels kind of printed off just so I can have some sort of branding on my plain boxes. Ultimately, in the future, I plan to have boxes with my branding like embossed into the surface, but till then, I like to have a little something like that going on one of the faces of the box. And so now that I've put that on there, I get to figure out which side I want to put this fragile sticker on, which I think it's going to be this one. Alright. And we are good to go. So this package is basically as good as done. All I have to do is go finish off the label, print it, and slap it on top of here. And then, well, technically yesterday I took it to the post office. So at this stage, right? At this stage, I would just have the label printed off, put it on here, and then get it ready for shipping, take to the post office. Sometimes I'll have them to come get it, but I don't know about y'all, but our post office is kind of dysfunctional, so even though I might schedule it for a day where I'm at home, they don't tell the carriers that, you know, there's a pickup out and they will not come get it. That, or they just see it and they're just like, screw it, let the next guy do it tomorrow. Don't know. But either way, they never really pick it up on time, and it doesn't really work out for me during the semester, so I opt to get a ride up to the post office and just get it in the mail that way. So I'm excited to send this off. And one thing that I do to my boxes before I send them off is simply drop them. If it sounds like that, I'm good, because that means that all that packing and paper and bubble wrap stuff that I jammed into this box is absorbing all of the movement. And so even if they like throw it more, which they most definitely will, I am fairly confident that nothing will get damaged in the process. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little walkthrough of my packaging process when it comes to my pottery. Every piece is kind of different, but this is just kind of a general method that I use in my own practice. Again, just to avoid stuff breaking. And then of course I pray over every package that leaves my house because I don't want it to break. But yeah, you know, it's a really hands-on process for me, and you know, a lot of times it's no issue really to get it out between 3 to 5 business days. I've been thinking lately about updating my shipping policy though, to maybe extend that to 5 to 7 business days, because you know, your girl's not a machine, and I do have a life. So also it just gives me a little extra time to double check and quality control and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, there's that process. You know, I know when it comes to shipping, some people can be kind of like, and it's like, okay, either I can incorporate the shipping into the product price, or I can just charge it up front, and I'd rather just charge it up front because, like, you know, free shipping is really an illusion, but don't tell anybody. Anyway, that's another discussion for another day. What else did I want to get into? I think that was it for the day. But yeah, you know, holidays are coming up, so if you had your eye on anything, right now would be the time to get it. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait till November, and then in November, I don't really guarantee the shipping time. Like, I will still work to get it out between those 3 to 5 business days, as my policy states, but as y'all know, the mailing system gets wild during that time of year, so that's why I've been really pushing for people to take advantage of the August sale that I have been holding for the entire month. If you're interested in anything in particular, like I said, the next sale won't be until November, so it's now or never, guys. I do have a pot for today. I did want to show that off, but I did obviously want to get that stuff out of my way first. I want to show off Millicent. So this yarn bowl, I kind of did reveal her a while back in one of my shorts here on YouTube, but I didn't really address her. So this is Millicent, and she goes along with all of those red and black pieces. I am very fond of this piece. I guess because of the coloration, but also just because of how I designed it. So I have several guide holes. This was another piece that I also had to drill through, so you know, she's near and dear to my heart. But also these notches along the rim. So I really I want you to imagine a ball of yarn in here. And so, you know, when you get done with your project, you could just kind of rest those knitting needles right there. No matter what the size is. I think these are like 12 millimeters, but Could probably fit up to a 15 millimeter, 17 millimeter, something like that. I don't really have the size measurement on that particular tool that I use to do this, but I thought it was a nice additional touch. So I will be taking pictures of Millicent, proper pictures of Millicent, and placing her in the shop. So at the end of this video, you can go check her out in her different angles and lighting and stuff like that. She was also in the wood firing. Again, the red started turning gray. In past episodes, I kind of talked about the chemical reaction between the red and the open flame and all the stuff that's in the open flame and whatnot. So I won't nerd out about that today. But here she is. I'm a busy girl. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's channel chat. If so, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, if you have been watching these videos and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you doing? Likewise, if you're on Rumble and you're watching this, subscribe. I'm pretty sure over there the notifications just kind of come through email. But if you're on YouTube, make sure you ring that notification bell and hit all so you don't miss out on my craft content. I post crochet tutorials, continental knitting tutorials, centro tutorials, and then of course these vlogs, which after August will phase back into maybe 2 a month, as I see fit, because I don't really have a lot to talk about, you know? And maybe next year I'll do this again. I don't know. Who knows where the future may bring us. I actually don't know what I'm going to do beyond May of next year, so that remains to be seen. Tomorrow I will be talking more in depth about my membership tier, which is probably one of the primary ways that I think people will end up supporting Infiniti Crafting Co. going forward. The gist of it is my entire pattern library is being updated and uploaded to this membership program where you have full access to all of my written instructions, notes, and the exclusive video tutorials that often accompany my written patterns. So if that's your deal, then that's something that you can sign up for, and the link to that is always in my description box in my videos, under my videos. This month's projects will include Centro sock update and then the Hold Me Tight shawl, which I showed off yesterday. So if you're interested in seeing that and any other like future bonuses and exclusive stuff, early releases, things like that, head over there, sign up, support your girl, get patterns while you're at it. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and until then, happy making.